Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Tongam Gultom. I'm from Indonesia but live at the moment in Vienna in Austria. Yes, I would like to share here my testimony, a little bit about how I came to Jesus Christ, how I came uh, to faith, to repentance. Yes, before I was living a homosexual lifestyle. Yes, so I have a LGBT lifestyle background, yeah. But now I live for Jesus Christ. Now I have a new life, and then yes, through power of the Lord, through the love of the Lord, that God changed me from time to time, and He strengthened me from time to time, and He was always faithful. He was always there through this process of my repentance. Now it's been 3 years since I decided to follow Jesus Christ, since I decided to repent from my old lifestyle, from my lost lifestyle, yeah, sinful lifestyle. And yes, but and then I'm so grateful for that the Lord has called me, that the Lord gave me His grace, despite my sins or my wrong lifestyle, yeah. Despite I was at the wrong path in my life, but the Lord somehow uh, called me, somehow showed me His mercy and pulled me out from this darkness, from this uh, wrong way to Him, to the light, yeah, which is Jesus Christ. Yes, I would like to tell a little bit how it happened, the day where I met the Lord personally. It was on the 15th of January 2018, yeah. At the time I was at the workplace and I was working as usual, and yes, to make a story short, I had in my heart at that time, while I was working, a song that I would like to sing, yeah. It was an Indonesian song. It was an Indonesian song, but very beautiful song. Yeah, it's called Janjimu Seperti Fajar. In English translated, your promise is like sunrise. Yeah, or uh, dawn in the morning. Yeah, when the sun rise in the morning. So this is the promise of the Lord. And then I sang this song, and then suddenly I felt the touch of the Lord. Suddenly I felt a love of God pour out on me, on my whole body, from head to toes, yeah. And then I felt such a strong uh, love of God, such a strong touch of the Lord, yeah, through His Holy Spirit. And then I was at that time crying uh, because it was so strong, and it was unpredicted. It was I was so overwhelmed, let's say like that, because I never felt such love before in my life, yeah. So, and this kind of feeling, uh, I never felt or experienced in my life, yeah, because I used to live a lifestyle where I was searching for happiness, for peace through fun, yeah, through parties, through going clubs or bars and stuff like that, searching for this worldly pleasure, flesh pleasure, eye pleasure, pride of life, everything, yeah. I was searching for these things also in my life, yeah, especially since I came to Austria 2010. And then yes, but those things, those worldly things didn't give me the real peace or the real joy, the real freedom that I was looking for. Yeah, I was thinking all these fun things will fulfill the emptiness, the hole in my heart. But in reality, that's not true. In reality, these things only bring my soul more deeper and deeper into the darkness, into hopelessness, into depression, frustrations, because you don't know the meaning of life. You don't yet find the meaning of life. You don't know that you are searching the meaning of life by doing those things, but those things are wrong way or um, wrong path, yeah, let's say like that, because at the end the real way is Jesus Christ, because Jesus said, I am the way, the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. That's what Jesus said, yeah. And Jesus also say, I am uh, the resurrection. Whoever believes in me will live even if they die, yeah. Even Jesus say, peace I will give to you. Peace, that's this word cannot give, I give to you. So the real peace can only Jesus Christ gives, yeah, because he's Son of God, yeah, he's the Messiah. To him is given power in heaven and on earth. So he is the Almighty himself, yeah, Jesus Christ. So he is the answer for our lives, whatever our struggles, whatever our sin that we are committing now, yeah, whatever our problems in life, yeah. And then even if we don't know why we live in this world, uh, doesn't matter, just come to Jesus Christ. He will show you the meaning of life, and your life will be meaningful. Then you will have a passion to live your life, yeah. Then you will have this fullness in your heart, in your soul, about why you are born, why are you on this world, yeah. It's not just like that, but it has a meaning. Your life is meaningful to God, yeah. You are meaningful to God. But the thing is, God created us with free will. So if we decide not to come to the Lord Jesus Christ, so if we decide not to believe in Jesus Christ and the gospel, God cannot push, because God created us with free will. If he would push us as human, then he would yeah, against his own word. That's not possible, because God is righteous, God is truth, yeah. So this was my experience. And then yeah, after this experience I decided to repent, yeah. I decided to repent. At that time I was living with a guy, or was still having a relationship with a guy, yeah. And then I told him my story, my encounter with the Lord Jesus Christ, and then I told him I want to follow Jesus Christ, and I want to stop living this homosexual lifestyle. Yeah, I don't want to live that lifestyle anymore, because it doesn't please the Lord, this lifestyle. Because at the end, doesn't matter if we agree or not, at the end God created us as man and woman, yeah, and God can only bless uh, a holy marriage, yeah, between man and woman, yeah, in the name of Jesus Christ. So God cannot bless man and man, woman and woman. God cannot bless, yeah. Doesn't matter what we think. If we doesn't matter if we against it, yeah, it's still the truth. Yeah, we cannot fight against the truth. We cannot fight against God. Yeah, we cannot fight against word of God. If God says so, then it must be the truth. Must be, because God is perfect. God is the creator. He never make mistake. We human, we make mistake all the time. So we think wrong, we feel wrong. Yeah, that's why there is Bible, there is word of God, so we know how to live righteous, how to live the right way in God's eyes. That's actually the real matter in life, because at the end every one of us will die, and then our life that we have lived will be useless if we just die like that, and without knowing God, without knowing God through his Son Jesus Christ, the Lord, the Savior, yeah, who already died on the cross for the sins of human, yeah, for sins of all of us, yeah. So God already made a way so that we can have a relationship with him, so that we can enter to heaven when we die. But first we have to believe in him, in Jesus Christ, and to repent, and yes, and follow his words. And then, yeah, anyway, I then at the end separated with the guy that I was with, yeah. And after that I start following Jesus Christ, yeah. I start to read my Bible, I start to pray my own at my place, in my small room. And yes, I was so thankful that God has give me yeah, this opportunity to know him, to come to him, to repent. Yeah, if I wouldn't have repented, I don't know what would have happened. Maybe I would have died and then end up in hell for eternity, forever and ever. And I don't want it. I don't want it. I never would want such thing, yeah, to be tortured for eternal, yeah, in hell. I don't want it. And I don't want that also happen to anyone of you, or anyone in this world. I don't want it. That's why I also make this video, that hopefully it can be a blessing, can bless those who hear it, and hopefully that it can touch you, and then you can come to the Lord Jesus Christ and trust him, ask him for forgiveness, invite him in your life, in your heart, as your personal Lord and Savior, and ask him every day for guidance, yeah, for guidance, how to follow him, what to do. And then at the end, all what Jesus said is already written on the Bible. You can get Bible also mostly for free, or you can download it also on your phone for free. Bible app, yeah, is for free, and then you can read it yourselves and prove it yourselves that word of God is truth, real, and Word of God is alive. It is a living word. Yeah, so it's not a dead word, it's a living word that can change you, that can transform you to become someone, to become to have a life that please God. Yeah, because yeah, at the end that's the only matter, that we pleasing God. So someday when we die, we will see the Lord, and the Lord smile at us. Yeah, and and then accept us, let's say like that, in heaven. Yeah, and yes, thank you for listening. And then if you guys have any question to me, please feel free to contact me, and I will be glad to answer. If I know, I will be glad to answer. If I don't know, then I will ask also my pastor, because I have also pastors who also help me, and yeah, pastoring me also until now, since my repentance almost 3 years ago, yeah, in 2018. So yeah, that's all my testimony. See you guys next time. Hope you are be blessed, and yeah, God bless.